sits at ease. So today in this video we will be talking about sampling framing. The sampling process is the systematic procedure. As we have discussed earlier, sampling process is a systematic procedure a research uses to select a subset sample. The subset is the sample which we have discussed earlier in previous lecture from a large group population or the purpose for making inference about the whole. Since studying an entire population is often impractical, right? It's not possible to study an entire population. That's why sampling process and sample framing is required. Researchers use samples to collect data that represents the broader population. The broader population means that the whole thing. Suppose, for example, to understand it easily, someone is testing the blood glucose level of XYZ individual. Then it's not possible to collect all the blood and calculate the glucose level. It's not possible and it's not feasible as well. So they take a sample. Sample means it's a portion from the whole. So the sampling process is the systematic procedure a researcher uses to select a subset. The subset is known as sample from a large group. Large group is the population for the purpose of making inferences. That means research conducts inferences, it concludes stuff about the whole. Since studying an entire population is often impractical, studying entire population is not possible. Samples to collect data that represents the broader population. So what are the steps in sampling process? First of all, we need to define the target population. Alright, so first of all we need to define the target population. That means identifying the entire group about which you want to draw and conclude. Is it clear? After that, what we will be doing is the second step states that we have to choose the sample frame. We have to create a list or accessible source of the population members. That means which is accessible. With that point, it's coming two part, a probability sampling and non-probability sampling. With the part accessibility, it is divided into probability sampling and non-probability sampling, which we will be discussing later on in today's lecture only. And the third step is that select a sampling method. Alright, that means probability sampling or non-probability sampling. The sample frame or the sampling type, it's the sampling method. How we are going to conduct that particular research work. Research means searching the variables. We are working with the variables. Now for further detailed explanation, the study requires details. Otherwise, research is not any literature. It's not fictitious character. It's all about detailing. It's all about the rechecking the reality. So sampling, the third step is that selecting the sampling method. From the examination point of view, the probability sampling and non-probability sampling, it's very important. And no point mugging up things that what is probability, the simple random sampling, systematic random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, and non-probability sampling states that convenience sampling, judgmental sampling. No, direct questions are asked from concepts. If our concept is clear, then we can take 2 marks easily, because from this particular section it is being asked in paper 1 and paper 2 as well, sampling process, and it's very important from examination point of view. Every year we can expect 1 question from sampling. Now generally probability sampling means random selection. Everyone has a known chance of being chosen. Example, simple random sampling, the stratified, as you can see. And non-probability sampling means it is a selection where biasness comes. See, probability means guessing, non-probability means choosing. When you are choosing something, then you are involved in a biasness. That means it's the selection part. So while selecting non-random samples, it's not random. So question might come, what is random sampling and what is non-random sampling? Right. So non-random based on researchers' judgment or convenience. Examples: convenience, purposive, snowball, quota sampling. Everything we will be understanding very easily in this lecture. So broadly speaking, now we have identified the target population. After identified the target population, we have the sample frame. After selecting the sample frame, we have sample procedure, the outline structure. After determining the sample, let's question ourselves that the research is demanding probability sampling or non-probability sampling. Generally we can say that probability sampling means quantitative. Quantitative means it deals with number. So probability sampling occurs less sampling error. All right, because probability sampling, why it's probability sampling? Because in probability sampling we don't, as a researcher, we cannot manipulate. It is what it is. Suppose I am conducting a research where I am taking a sampling method as probability. That means anyone can be my sample. In case of non-probability sampling, there is no room for sampling error. In probability sampling, there is a room for sampling error because we don't know whom we are keeping as our research sample. But in non-probability sampling, it is my choice. I am choosing it. I am choosing my sample. Suppose you are doing a project work. Okay, let's break it down in a simple way. You are doing a project work. Now you need some. You have to fill some questionnaire of students. Now you know who reads in class 5. You are just giving that particular data sheet, particular survey sheet to students only. Then you know it is pretty much simple that there is no room for sampling error. But the moment you are randomly selecting it, that means you don't know who is your actual sample. So that is more ethical way. So it's not right that which is ethical and which is not ethical. But the thing is that in case of probability sampling, we can say that it is more prone to sampling error. All right. So from SET's perspective, from the previous year question, we can say that only probability sampling, error in sampling occurs only in probability sampling because we are guessing it. It's just probability part. But in case of non-probability sampling, we know whom we are questioning. All right. So probability, first let's understand what is probability sampling. Probability sampling can broadly divided into four parts. Number one, simple random sample. As the name suggests, simple random sampling. That means unit of universe has equal chance of being included. No biasness. Second comes systematic random sampling. Systematic means we are using mathematics. The first 8th term, 16th term, 24th term, or we will be taking 1, 4, 8, 6, anything we are randomizing it. Okay, systematic, but it's random. This one is simple. We are giving the survey sheets to anyone. But here we are giving to the 8th population, to the 16th population, to the 24th population. This is example. Now comes stratified sampling. Stratified means we are making strata. We are making subgroups. It's the heterogeneity. That means me as a researcher creating a group. There is a difference between stratified sampling and cluster sampling. Stratified means I, the researcher, is making a group, and cluster means naturally occurring group. All right, cluster can be one stage cluster, two stage cluster, multi-stage cluster. So for probability sampling, what we can say for probability sampling, it's simple. Probability sampling can be divided into four parts, which is simple random sample, systematic random sample, stratified. Strata means I am creating subgroups. Cluster means naturally occurring subgroup. Okay, now coming to non-probability sampling. Non-probability sampling means I am choosing convenience. According to my convenience, I am making the sampling process. Judgmental or purposive. I know whom to research. Okay, I know I am myself making it that suppose where the population is less, all right, I don't have, in case of simple random sample, I can survey anyone out the street. Obviously it must align with my research work, it must align with my research proposal. But for non probability sampling, as I said earlier, that it's a guess part. Okay, it's a choosing part, more than a guessing part, it's a choosing part. Non probability choosing, probability guessing, these are the keywords: probability guessing, non probability choosing. Okay, and for choosing parts, it's qualitative. Quality, I am measuring the quality. Now convenience sample is least expensive and it takes least time. It is also known as accidental haphazard. From these note is based on previous year questions. These are the keyword based notes. All right. So judgmental or purposive means I am making it. I am deemed to fit participant. I know X participant. Prior to my research work, I know X is good in suppose finance. So I am doing a project work on finance. I am doing a research work on finance. So I will be choosing that particular individual. That is judgmental. Judgmental means on the basis of the researcher's judgment. It deems to fit the participants, not a scientific method of sampling. This is not ethical, this is not scientific. Though I am no one to state which one is ethical and which one is non-ethical, but this is also a part of research. Next comes quota sampling. Quota sampling means it's similar to strata. It's not same, it's similar to strata, where the researcher, to understand better about a population, the researcher is interested in a particular strata, then he or she was quota. Quota, we know what is the meaning of quota. Quota means what is already being quoted. I know for whom to study. Snowball sampling states that the time consumers, that I'm refusing, I'm just referring someone, I'm not refusing. Snowball means how snowball works. Snowball means suppose this is a ball, this is a ball, this is a ball, this particular individual is giving to this one, this particular individual is referring to this one, this particular individual. So it's like a grape. Okay, suppose what to say, this is a ball, and he is referring to someone else, and he is further referring to someone else, he is further referring to someone else. That means in snowball sampling, the consumer, it is a referral part, it's a network sampling part, and it's just like referral programs. And the last part of today's lecture is errors. Sampling error can further be divided into two parts: sampling error and non-sampling error. Error in sampling only occurs in probability sampling, because I don't know whom I am sampling, whom I am taking as the sample. But in non-probability sampling, there is less room for what? For errors. Because in this particular case where I am judgmenting, I am giving the quota, I know that this particular individual is good in this finance part, so no point of any error part, because in non probability there is no room for error, but in probability sampling only there is room for error. Now error can be divided into two parts: one is sampling error and one is non sampling error. Sampling error means while collecting the data, I am not making it, the ratio I am not taking it proper. Suppose I want to study the mental health growth on the toddlers part, the cognitive development part on level 2, level 3 class people. So I am taking just 1000 sample, that will not give me accurate result. So that's why we can say it is sampling error. And in case of non-sampling error, what we can say? Non-sampling error, it's not the respondent's problem, that's not the researcher's problem, it is the problem of respondent. Me as a researcher, I am not creating any problem. The respondent is lying, the respondent is not answering properly, so that will result in error. So error in sample, what we must know, error in sample occurs only in probability sampling. Error only in probability. Now error can be divided into two parts: sampling error and non-sampling error. Sampling error means researcher's problem, and non-sampling error means respondent problem. So that was it with today's video. Thank you very much. Thank you for connecting at Is No Media, where we discuss media related topics at ease. See you tomorrow.